Force One has more televisions than any plane in history. They've got them in closets. They've got them on ceilings, floors. They've got more television. You can't escape a television. And I turned to CNN, and they didn't have this. They weren't having it. Can you believe it? They didn't have it. No, CNN didn't have our roll call. Then I turned to MSDNC, as I call it. MSDNC, which is truly, it is a branch of the Democrats. It's right. It's I wouldn't say fully owned corporation, but it's certainly a fully controlled, or they control them. Nobody really knows who's controlling who. But, they had it on television. I remember watching it, and it was interesting. You see the different states, and we say this, and we say that. The great state of Alaska, the great state of Alabama, the great state of North Carolina, the great state of all of them. And it's very interesting to me. They had theirs on, but they didn't show it. Instead, they're showing the scam because they're trying to show the post office so that when their whole mail-in thing fizzles, they'll try blaming it on the post office. Okay, so they're showing these hearings that are very boring, actually. And they're not showing this either. They weren't showing this. And Fox had it on, but unfortunately Fox wasn't showing it too much because they had the announcers talking. I said, I want to hear what they're saying. The delegates, I want to hear what they're saying. So I think we had to switch over to C-SPAN or to OAN or somebody. But I wanted to hear them. But I can promise you a few things. Number one, we will not be taking the word God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, okay? Like they did a number of times at their caucuses, so they took the word God out. I heard it. I was listening. I said, that's strange. It's sort of weird. You've heard it all your life, right? Under God. All of a sudden, those two words are missing. I said, oh, he must have made a mistake. He must have, maybe the teleprompter wasn't working, or his book wasn't working that I have right here. Something wasn't working. Must have made, but the problem was then the next day I heard it again. I said, that's not a mistake. That's pretty, and then they immediately went into a mode. No, we didn't mean that. No. We didn't say it for the convention. We didn't say it. No, that's where they're coming from. You can say it or not say it. That is where they're coming from. Just like with energy, they don't want energy. Not working well in Texas, by the way. I just looked at a poll. And by the way, it just came out that we have received 51% in the big and very important Rasmussen poll, and my numbers actually went up during the Democratic National Convention, 51%. So think of it. Thank you. I love this state. I like this place. And you're from all over the place, but this has been a good one for me. No, but think of it. So we're at 51% in Rasmussen. Do you read about it? Do you hear about it? You don't hear about it. They give you these suppression polls where they do registered voters instead of most likely. It's supposed to be likely. In other words, how about you? You're likely to vote. But how about you? You're registered, but I'm not voting. But see, under their plan, where they send these ballots, you don't have to want to vote. You get the ballot, and then they have harvesting. They get guys to go, do you want to vote? No, not really, but I have a ballot. All right, good. Who's it for? Sleepy Joe Biden. I'll put it here, son. Okay, could I have it? And they'll take it. In fact, harvesting is illegal in your state. They wanted to put a Republican, fine man, a pastor. They wanted to put him in jail because he harvested. Now they want to make harvesting legal all of a sudden. They'll put him in jail as a Republican, right? If he was a Democrat, they wouldn't even be thinking about it. In California, they do the same thing. No repercussion. In North Carolina, you had a fine pastor, a fine man, and they got him on harvesting. They wanted to put him in jail. And now they want to make it all so that everybody can harvest because they know it's not a good thing. So people that don't want to vote are going to be sitting there. They'll be making them, if you talk about 80 million ballots, it's 80 million, could even be higher than that. I used to say 51 million, now it's 80 million. They said, sir, you're a little obsolete with the 51. I said, all right, what is it? 80. I said, 80? How is it possible to think of it? They'll be sending them, they'll be dumping them in neighborhoods, there'll be people are going to be picking them up, they'll be bribing, they'll be paying off people to grab some. This is going to be one of the greatest scams, and it's common sense. This has nothing to do with politics. It's common sense. Anybody, you don't have to know politics. They're going to mail out 80 million ballots. It's impossible. They have no idea. Who's mailing them? Mostly Democrat states and Democrat governors. Well, supposing they don't mail them to Republican neighborhoods, that means they're not going to get them. So they're going to complain, and the election's going to be over, and then they're going to complain, and then they'll say, oh, well, we didn't get it. Big deal. In the meantime, you might lose the election. This is the greatest scam in the history of politics, I think, and I'm talking about beyond our nation. And they act like they're aggrieved. Like by saying this, we're saying such a horrible thing. We're not patriotic by saying this. No, we voted during World War I. We voted at the voting booth during World War II. The pandemic, we're doing very well, and people know how to handle it. Look at the crowds. They're doing very well. It's very safe. It's going to be very safe. If you have an absentee ballot where you request it, we're all in favor of that. Absentee, like in Florida, they have absentee is good. But other than that, they're very, very bad. There'll be millions of ballots. Take a look at New York. Take a look at Virginia. Take a look at New Jersey. All different cases. They just had one last night. Now they're thinking about recalling certain elections that took place with mail-in. And these are small little elections that are locally based, that are easy to run. Not millions, but thousands of ballots. Thousands. Hundreds of ballots. But these are small, and they can't control it. They said 23% of the ballots were defective. What does defective mean? It means fraud. It means a lot of things that we won't get into, because I don't want to be accused. You see all the cameras back there? It's the fake news. I don't want to be accused of anything. But what it means is they're trying to steal the election from the Republicans. That's what it means. In a very, very nice way, I will tell you, they are trying to steal the election, just like they did it last time with spying, and we caught them, and that included President Obama, and that included, let's be nice, Biden. This could only happen in North Carolina. But that included them, and they got caught. And then somebody said, well, what are you going to do? Well, we can't attack a president. Oh, I see. If it was me. They said, we can't attack a president. We caught him. We caught him cold. And they say, we can't attack. He was at meetings talking about it. And by the way, this was spying before and after. And I think it's a disgrace to our country. I think we can never let that happen again. But now they're doing something that in a certain way is more dangerous because it's more effective. They spied on my campaign. You know what they found? Nothing. But this is big stuff. This is stealing millions of votes, and it's going to be very hard. Now, we're in courts all over the country, and hopefully we have judges that are going to give it a fair call, because if they give it a fair call, we're going to win this election. The only way they can take this election away from us is if this is a rigged election. We're going to win this election. We're going to win this election.